Hi and welcome to your first sleep story. Stories are magical, aren't they? They transport us to another world, helping us relax and forget about our worries. You might think of bedtime stories as being for children. Your parents might have told you stories as they tucked you into bed when you were a child. But bedtime stories are for grown-ups too. And we've designed these stories to take you back to a more innocent time when you were playful and carefree. If you've been having trouble falling asleep, or if you just want to listen to something soothing at bedtime, these stories are for you. And I hope you enjoy them. So let us begin. Make sure that all the lights are turned off and lie down comfortably. Close your eyes gently. Relax and let the words wash over you. The day was overcast. Rain clouds blanketed the sky, with a few slivers of light shining through. Swati looked out of her window at the beautiful day. It would be nice to get out of the city, she thought. A great day to spend some time amidst nature. So she got into her car and took the route out of the city to the banks of the river Kaveri. As she left the busy roads of the city, the traffic gradually thinned out, until it was just her and her car on the quiet, winding road. Buildings and shops gave way to open fields, trees, plants, fields of green on either side of the road, as she drove leisurely to the river. She opened the window of her car and inhaled the fresh air. The sun played hide and seek, casting shifting shadows across the landscape. Swati soon came to a clearing in a forest, which she knew would take her down to the river. She parked her car and, walking away from the road, she headed towards the river. Cool air caressed her skin, lending a pleasant contrast to the warmth of the sun rays as she walked into the patches of shade beneath the ancient trees. A gentle breeze whispered through the branches, and a few leaves swirled lazily to the ground. She paused beneath a huge rain tree, its branches extending far above her. She looked up, watching the rays of light playfully filtering through the foliage. She couldn't yet see the river, but she could hear the sounds of flowing water, joining the crunch of dried leaves beneath her feet and the occasional bird song, all joining together in a beautiful, natural symphony. The path wound through trees and shrubs, and here and there she saw a few squirrels jumping from branch to branch, and one just sitting and basking in the sun. Another turn of the path and she was at the banks of the river. Swati had always found water soothing, and now she felt herself relax as she looked out at the flowing river. A bird caught her eye as it swooped down to the water, and then up again, and then flying through the branches of an overhanging peepal tree, it caught Swati's eye, looked at her as though welcoming her to the river. Its feathers were vibrant shades of blue and green with hints of a brilliant yellow. Swati smiled and spread out a blanket beneath the tree, settling down onto it with a deep sigh. It was so relaxing. The gurgling of the water, the sunlight dappling on the surface. Swati felt the tensions of the city leaving her. The ground beneath her blanket was soft and grassy, and she inhaled the rich, earthy fragrance. She felt a wave of drowsiness wash over her and was about to close her eyes to take a nap when she heard a rustling in one of the trees above her. The friendly bird let out a squawk and rose up into the air, flying away into the blue sky. Swati sat up and took a closer look. A small family of monkeys were playing on the branches of an old tree behind her. The mother and two baby monkeys chattering to each other as they swung from one branch to another. Swati watched them for a few minutes, enjoying the playful abandon with which the monkeys were playing. They seemed to be one with the wilderness. As the monkeys disappeared into the higher recesses of the tree, Swati turned her attention to the bark of the peepal tree she was sitting next to. She observed a train of ants making their way up, patiently, persistently. Fascinated, she tried to see where this trail of ants began and how far up they went. But soon she was lulled by the soft flowing sounds of the river, and so she found herself closing her eyes again. She lay down for a while, breathing in the air, enjoying the warmth of the sun rays on her skin. A little while later, the soft flowing sounds of the water called out to her, and so she stood up and made her way to the riverbank. The gentle, rushing sounds of the river had a soothing effect on Swati as the water kissed the banks, gurgled over stones and branches, gently lapping against the bank, again and again and again. The river seemed to have many moods, the water rushing over larger rocks, but gently slipping between plants and smaller pebbles, making soft, happy sounds on its way. Swati wanted to feel the water, not just hear it and see it. And so she took off her canvas shoes and began to walk barefoot along the riverbank. The cool water playfully lapped against her feet, back and forth, back and forth. Above her, the sky had cleared, slowly turning from grey to blue, as the clouds drifted away. Swati returned to her spot and sat down again, and took a deep breath, filling her lungs with air. She felt completely alive. Her entire body seemed to pulsate with a subtle energy. The sounds of the river, the soft touch of the breeze, the smell of earth, all of this had transported her back to her childhood, when life had been simple and carefree. Swati lifted herself up on her elbows now to look towards the river again. The water was blue, reflecting the sky. The sun created little patterns of dazzling light on the surface. She wondered now if the pebbles in the river were as smooth and shiny as the ones she had collected as a child. She remembered tossing the pebbles so that they skimmed the surface of the pond. Sitting here beside the river, she felt as though she were 10 years old again, playing in her grandmother's house. After a while, Swati got up and went back to the banks of the river to look for pebbles. She reached into the shallow water and picked up a few stones. They were smooth, almost shiny. The river had shaped them probably over years as it wound its way from the mountain tops to the sea. Swati thought, maybe the river is just like my life, flowing through the rain and sunshine, past obstacles, past rocks, down gushing waterfalls, ultimately finding its way to its destination. Despite its movement, though, the river seemed to have a deep stillness at the center, and this stillness quietened her mind, relaxed her senses. As Swati looked closer at the river, she saw that the water was many shades of blue and green and emerald. The delicate tinges of orange and yellow sunlight lent a surreal glow to the landscape. Swati felt calm and refreshed. She could soak in these colors forever. She had found a place of her own, away from the noise and crowd of the city, away from everybody and everything. She leaned down and gently let the stones fall into the water with a soft splash. Droplets sprayed her face, the water delightfully cool against her skin. She had a sense suddenly of being at one with everything around her, a sense of belonging with the trees, the earth, the water, and the sky. As she walked back to her car, her mind was quiet, clear. She turned around one last time, absorbing the sights and sounds, the stillness, the life. She took a slow, deep breath, inhaling fully and then exhaling with contentment. And all the way home, Swati could still feel the serenity of the river, the greenery. She remembered the image of her life like the river, flowing slowly, calmly, with a silent but strong purpose, flowing, flowing, flowing. And she knew that she was going to have the best night's sleep she had had in a long time.